You did some work with Alex Jones.
Yeah, I was his wingman. I used to go help him pick up girls.
You have a video on YouTube. It's been mirrored by many people. Some call the video Alex Jones called out as a phony by Jack Blood. How was it working with Alex Jones, and why did you do that video?
And now I'm on your show. I know that's going to play well with the conspiracy theorists out there that all
there's no conspiracy at all.
Think we're COINTELPRO and that we're working for MK Ultra. Look, this is a mind disease, and Alex Jones has a little cult that he likes to keep going. It costs him about $100,000 a month to buy radio stations and to keep this big operation going, and I'll let him have it. What do I look? I hosted his show. I work with him intimately for quite a few years, and he's changed. He's not the same guy he used to be. And what I learned, like you, when I stopped going to the website and listening to the show, I still got all the news. I still got all the news without the spin, without the fear-mongering. So, there's that whole element to it. And I just don't really think there's anything he does that's original enough to even go there. Personally, but far be it from me to be judgmental. I'm not here to be the patriot police. That's what he does. That's what people like him do. What this guy used to do would be he'd get on the phone late at night and blackball people from the movement. He was like a little Hitler, and that's what really pissed me off and why I finally, after a few years, just blew up, because we were running Deborah Medina here in Texas. We were going to win this amazing come from behind. It was the biggest underground political story you ever heard of. She was in the news everywhere. We had this. We were going to beat Rick Perry. We were going to put our own person in. And I knew, the campaign manager, I knew all the people in the campaign. They were just like me and you and your listeners. This would have been a huge victory for us. And because she wouldn't give him Alex Jones interviews, and because he couldn't control her, he sabotaged her, along with Glenn Beck. It was like they were working in concert to get Rick Perry reelected. And that was, for me, the last straw, when she had to get security people at her house, not from the New World Order, not from Rick Perry's goons, but from Alex Jones's cult goons. That was the final straw for me, and in many ways that's come back to haunt me. I wish I hadn't have done it. I know people think that I'm some jealous ninny or something talking about stuff like this, but I want people to know the truth. I want to spare them from what happened to me and what's happened to so many people out there. That the guy is absolutely 100% fake. And like a lot of the fake people out there, like the elites, he goes to bed every night thinking he's going to save the world, and he probably believes half the bullshit that he says, But the fact is, and I agree with Burke on this, that the quote, the urge to save the world is almost always a false front to control it. And there's a great movie out there called Land of the Blind, which kind of goes into that. The resistance finally wins, and they're worse fascists than the people that they replaced. And that's the kind of guy that Alex Jones is. So you've got to be careful. It's the same thing about centralizing into the mainstream media. You don't want to centralize into the alternative media. And what happens is people give, him all their money and everything, and they've just built up this huge Frankenstein. And so, no, you don't need him. I mean, get off, unplug from that, folks, and go to my site, or don't go to my site. Go to Mike Rivero's site, or David Icke's site, or go to intelhub.com or activistpost.com, or these great sites out there that will...
Or www.westcoasttruth.com.
That's right. That will still get you the news, and you won't, you'll get it in an objective manner. That's what I've always tried to do. I look at everything that comes in. Somebody asked me the other day, I want to start a radio show. How should I do it? And I said, the first thing you got to do is realize that almost every news story has some element of propaganda, and you've got to weed that out for your people, and that's what will make you useful. Well, no, a guy like Alex Jones doesn't do that. He adds it on with extra whipped cream and cherries and nuts, and he's just like how he eats, man. Just a big glutton, and that's what he is. And he's like Jabba the Hutt, man. He can't get enough of this, and so the more you feed this monster, the bigger he's going to grow, and the more power he's going to want. Hey, listen, you can't be a hypocrite. So if you're out there and you're preaching decentralization, then you can't be the one that's all central. And that's what he's taken for himself. And he's hurt a lot of good people along the way. His stealing people's videos and taking all the money from them, and putting people's back to the wall, and these little backroom negotiations that he has for people's books and videos. It's just sick, you know? This is exactly what I'm against. And so it came down to that. It came down to some personal issues. I don't like to be told what to do, how to wear my hair, and, you know, what clothes to wear, and who are my friends. And so, you know, I'm just not into that. And so when you get to, it's like everything else. Let me tell you this real quick. It's like everything else I've ever found as a truth seeker. When I went to the churches and I got up to the ultimate pinnacle in the back room of the church, I found out they were saying, hey man, what do we got to say in order to get that new parking lot? How do we got to scare and I heard this for myself, you know? So everything I've ever done and I've ever searched for, I've found that this is the all-important thing. People are people wherever you go. So you get into a truth movement, you get into an activist movement, you get into revolution. Man, there are going to be people like landmines everywhere, ready to stab you in the back, ready to take what's yours, ready to, you know, step on you to get up that ladder. And I hate to demoralize people, really, by saying that, but that's the truth. And we got to be adults about this and wake up. So, what, you know, all I'm trying to do is I'm not part of any of that. You know, I got secular friends. I'm an old punk rock guy. You know, I'm just trying to sift through this media, make it somewhat palatable for people like me. I'm not trying to be Michael Jackson or anything like Alex Jones or somebody. I'm just trying to be like Mudhoney. I'm just trying to be like Sonic Youth. You know, I'm just trying to be like Big Black or Charles Bukowski or, you know what I mean? And I have my own little niche, my own little corner, and that's all I do. And I don't begrudge anyone else their style or their information or what they do until they go out and they become a wrecker. I once heard Alex Jones make this speech called, you know, The Wrecker, and it was a great speech, you know, how these people would go out and wreck everything. And he really is that. He is exactly that. So anyone, and he's just one example. There's so many of them out there,
but he's the biggest game in town. I mean, he's
in this
top
little,
of the capstone.
In the one little conspiracy news corner, but there's a whole big world out there, folks. And look, they're going to take a look at a guy like that and immediately be repelled away from it. So don't stick to that. Don't get caught in that. David Icke once told me, and he wrote this in his book, Alice in Wonderland and the World Trade Center Disaster. It's the first 9/11 book out there that had investigative reporting in it, right? And he said, you know, this is the problem with patriots, is they'll go into a camp, they'll climb up a hill, and they'll stop at a camp, and they'll get all comfortable, and they'll sit and they'll fight for that camp. They won't walk a little farther to go see there's another camp, and there's another camp, and there's another camp. So you gotta stay on the journey here, folks. You have to, and you gotta be, you know, loyal to the people around you. And that's really what sunk me, man, is that I'm a loyal friend. I'm a loyal person, and when it comes down to my friends and it comes down to what I really believe in, I gotta not be a hypocrite. And even if that costs me money, it cost me my career, like 10 different careers, okay? I could tell you horror stories of my music career, my business career, you know, my college career. It always ended up costing me, but, you know, I just want to be somebody that didn't sell out. You know, that's the first rule of punk rock. I didn't want to sell out. I didn't want to be a hypocrite. So say what you want about me. I've tried as hard as I can, being human, to be that person, and I'm working more on it every day.
So fuck Infowars and go to www.deadlinelive.info. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you'll get part of the story there. And look, I mean, you'll get it on.